What's good, guys? Welcome, middle 89. Secrets to my name. Middle O is the sun. The dot in the middle of the O. And 89 is a Fibonacci number. It's also the year I was born. 31 years old. So yeah, there's a little bit of demystifying going on there with my name. But I had to demystify it myself. I didn't realise until probably 3 or 4 months ago. People used to call me that at school, Midlow. And then when you get into syncretism and you start tying a lot of things together, you actually realise that is a divine occurrence. This is a divine, nickname that was given to me, that I formulated. So Middle O is the symbol of the sun, and the sun is the dominant planet in my chart, along with Saturn. Probably those two are like equal, but the sun's definitely, been the one that has been guiding my path. But yeah, so my crown chakra awakening, I thought I'd share this experience. Happened back in 2017, late summer, around August, September time. And what happened before going to bed that night, I was studying a lot to do with psychology and self-help with the Earl Nightingales, the Bob Proctors, Napoleon Hill, and all the likes on YouTube. And I was just immersing myself because I was training to become a Forex trader in the stock markets. And there's a huge, if you want to become successful in trading, one of the major topics to understand and study is your psychology. So you prevent self-sabotage and all this kind of stuff, and become emotionless and rule your emotions basically. And so I got to thank my path of wanting to become rich and be materialistic to actually being the key in unlocking my spiritual self, in respect to me coming to the understanding that everything was energy. And this is off the back of a Bob Proctor presentation that I watched that day, where he was saying that if you look at a table in front of you or a computer, they're all just on an atomic level vibrating at such a frequency to give off that current structure that we see and perceive in the material world as solid, liquid or gas, with a vast array of different solids, appearances in between that, depending on the vibration of these atoms. So down to the atomic level, everything is everything is energy basically. So I carried that with me that night, going to sleep. And so I went to sleep and I was conscious. I was closing my eyes, and in my mind's eye, with that in my head, that, oh my God, everything is energy. This is crazy. What a crazy concept. Like, how did I not think of this before? It's such a simple concept, but he's right. Everything is energy, even myself. As I was thinking this, going to sleep, I could feel I was unlocking something. And what happened was I felt a really strong tingling energy above my head, and in my mind's eye appeared a sun, which was probably slightly bigger than a tennis ball in relation to my body in the room, as I was envisioning the whole room in your mind's eye, as your mind's eye can do. And so this orb was above my head, probably about a foot above my head, and I've got a picture here which I show people when I tell the story. That is exactly how it was seen. It's a good depiction. So I had this orb above my head, and it was channeling energy two ways: negative energy out of my body and positive energy in my body, and it was a perpetual loop. And as this was happening, obviously I just was overwhelmed with blissful energy, and it was euphoric, and it was so healing, and I could just feel it in every fibre, every cell of my being, just picking up on this cosmic energy that this orb was representing and given to me. And so as I was doing this, it was really a positive in, negative out kind of aspect of the cycle with what was going on in the exchange that was happening with me and this orb. And so as things progressed, I was able to move this orb with my mind's eye in front of my body, down towards my chest, around my head, and I was having fun with it. It was really quite a cool experience. And I was as if I had a tennis ball on my arm, and I was moving it around. I was able to do this in my mind's eye, and the energy was palpable. I could feel its pull or its pushing as it was moving around different aspects of my body energetically. And then I got to a point where I whizzed it up into the top of my room, and there it sat, and I started to add stars. I was flinging stars from my mind's eye, from my crown, to start orbiting around this central sun basically. And so as I was doing this, more and more stars I was pinging out towards this sun, and I was starting to make it spiral, like you see in galaxies, how they form. So I was actually forming galaxies, and I was spinning galaxies, and I started chucking another galaxy out there, and another galaxy. I probably got to about 5 or 6 galaxies, and all this while I just, was in over my head, basically. Never experienced anything like it ever. And I was just lapping it up. I was like, mate, this is insane. This is amazing. And I was just like, third eye was properly, truly open. And I kept adding it, kept spinning it, and I kept trying to zoom out and create even bigger cluster of galaxies. But it got to a point where everything just shut down, and I was kind of came back round. I snapped out of it, out of my meditative state, and I woke up, and it was almost a sense. It left me with a feeling of too much, too soon. You're not ready yet. When you get these intuitive messages, you try to decipher them by attaching words to them, and what I felt was it's too much, too soon. Don't go too far. Not yet. So I kind of got closed off for whatever reason, I don't know, but it was a good experience nonetheless. So I turned on the lamp, and I actually got an electric shock from the lamp, and I was just in goosebumps basically. What the hell just happened? And my ex-missus at the time was like, everything okay? I was like, yeah, sure, I'm good. Just had like a bit of a mad dream. I didn't think anything of it. I went to sleep that night. So the next day, hopped on the computer and typed in funny buzzing like energy above my head, ball like energy above my head, and all the results that were coming up were symptoms of a crown chakra awakening. And at that point I never knew hardly anything to do with chakras or the science of the chakras and these energy meridians and points in the body. I had heard of them before, but just from like probably posts that I just went past and recognised as there's a top chakra and there's a bottom chakra, and that's about it. I was no expert. So that really started my path of my spiritual awakening, and that's what I recognise now looking back as being my first birth of my spiritual self. So in reality I'm only really 2.5 years old, because prior to that I've always been open-minded because of the life I've lived and the way I've grown up, and that I moved house like probably 15 times in my first 18 years, one of them being moving from Australia to England. So I was always blessed with new environments, new lands, which really does help open up the map in the mind, whereas most people just domiciled, they're parked throughout all their childhood, teenage years and adult years until they move out of their parents' home. They're just in one place, running the same old ground. Pink Floyd, and it does close the mind. So I've been blessed in that sense, and I've always looked up at the stars, and I spent the first 9 years of my life in Australia running around barefoot, getting that grounding from earth, which these all contribute, and the beautiful sun. I had golden blonde hair, not so much now being in England. I definitely do miss that. But yeah, that point in time, so I've always been curious, but that point in time was like a trigger. And that trigger was a result of me coming into new information. Because if you understand the concept of all is mind, in that material is born out of mind, not the other way around, that we live in an idealistic universe. Materialism is just really dense thought, and now everything we see is actually born out of thought. That computer, this computer that I'm speaking to, this camera, was once a thought, and it existed in counter space until someone was able to tap into it and think of the idea of bringing about a camera and how to compose the elements to actually produce such a thing that can capture images, which allows me to share my story with you guys. So if you carry that forwards, I think it would definitely help maybe unlock and trigger some experiences within yourself, because I think this is what humanity is waiting for. Not everyone's going to have in their lifetime this kind of experience, but I believe everyone has the trigger. There is a switch which can be switched on basically with your spiritual self, like it had done with me, but it's all to do with information. Knowledge is power, and that's the war we got on consciousness at the moment, is the withholding and disingenuity and subterfuge used with the current cabal and deep state, not wanting us to know how powerful we actually are and keeping us dumbed down. And they've got the upper hand due to these greater cosmic cycles of the great year, and that we're just coming out of the Kali Yuga, and we have suffered greatly during this fall or the descent from the last golden era. So, you know, this is the turning point. The turning point was probably quite a few centuries ago, as we head back up to the next golden age. So more and more people are going to start experiencing this. I have no doubt about this at all. And so I encourage people to share their stories if they do have had something similar. And I think it's very important. I read a lot of stuff out there that people should say you should work from the bottom up. I disagree. You should definitely try and activate your crown and work top down, because if you work bottom up, this is where they have stuck most of humanity, and it's a very powerful type of magnetism in these lower chakras, which rules the animal desires and passions, like the carnal desires and the sense gratification and the lust and the sex desire. So these cosmic centers of consciousness, you need to approach from the top. If you approach from the bottom, granted there's people that probably have gone through that process and have risen above it, but if you want to be more pragmatic about it and smarter in terms of, you know, your spiritual work, definitely top down. Definitely come and awaken the chakra, awaken the mind, and understand the power of your subconscious, and just you as a mental being and the heart. And once you've unlocked these centers, you can start to master the sex energy and use that to transmute and bring about greater manifestations in this realm, because that sex energy is sacred. You know, that's the sacred fluid. And if you approach it from the bottom up, which is where we're all born, this is where we all start our journey, you'll be spilling that sacred fluid everywhere in the kind of grand illusion that is kind of sex magic, for all these idiots who are just willfully spilling their semen, which is life-giving seed energy. If you could see the aura surrounding this sacrament, this holy white sacrament, it'll be huge, it'll be blinding, but people just, you know, ejaculating in the end of a condom in a bit of plastic or in the belly of some Babylonian whore, in the hope that they can manifest even more misery in their life. That's what they inevitably end up doing. There's no more power or greed. It's just a vicious cycle of a dog chasing his tail if you do that kind of work. But yeah, energy, all is energy. Crown Chakra awakened in 2017. Also, I was 28 years old. Saturn was returning, so he blessed me with the gift. And also around that time, which I later worked out, was the great sign in heaven with the Great Tribulation, September 23rd, 2017. The woman cloaked with the sun, the moon at her feet, a crown of 12 stars above her head, about to give birth. If you look astronomically, what happened at that time, Jupiter was gestating for 9 months prior, and at that date he started to move along the ecliptic, and there was 12 stars above her head exactly on that date. The woman being Virgo, the constellation Virgo, the Virgin, with Mars, Mercury and Venus above her head, forming the 9 stars of Leo, and the 3 luminaries that are Mars, Mercury and Venus, and the moon was directly at her feet. So guys, this is the Great Tribulation. This is, and it was all tying in perfectly, celestially with my timing in my activation. But everyone has unique activations. But I think it can be triggered. It's not really set in stone. You could do it whenever, as long as you just realise that, you know, you are powerful. Your subconscious mind is so powerful, and all is energy at the end of the day. And mind gives birth to matter, not the other way around. It's biocentrism. You know, we're here as a result of mind. What you see in nature is the work of the mind of God, unfolding as it sprouts every spring. All these seeds that are otherwise hidden in the soil, that just come out of nowhere, all these flowers, all these blossoms in this wonderful time we call spring, you know. And so the true start of the year, basically. And so what you see, it's man-made, is all born out of man's thoughts. Every single thing that you can think of that has been made by man or woman was first a thought, was first nothing. So out of nothing comes a thought, out of thought becomes the action to bring that into the material world. So when you comprehend that, you've unlocked one of the greatest secrets in the universe, which will help unlock even higher truths within yourself, and start your own spiritual birth, or born day, as I like to refer it to, because, you know, well, mind you saying that we are all vessels, we are like ships, we do birth, So this is definitely my second birth, so to speak, one of my spiritual self. And I've had plenty of mad experiences ever since then. And it's only been 2.5 years. Looking back, wow, it's gone quick. But yeah, it just opened up a whole new world of spirit and understanding the science that is the soul and the spirit with the chakras. The first person I came to was Seven Boma and his Code to the Matrix. I read that, everything resonated. It was like everything that I knew, because I knew something was wrong with the world, with how it was run. I studied economics at uni. I knew what was going on with the money, the power, the manipulation, the control of the media, the Illuminati in the music industry, in the films, all these sick rituals, all this mind control that was going on. I was aware of it. And so yeah, he definitely helped reinforce that with the higher spiritual angle to it, which just pulled me along even greater in terms of my evolution of spirit and my awareness here on this plane. But Santos Bonacci as well, syncretism, tying everything together, whereas everything in school we're just taught to secretize everything or secularize everything. Everything's just compartmentalized. It's not the case. Everything is connected. Even we are connected on this plane. It's a collective consciousness. It's the field. You call it whatever you want. It's got many different names, but we are so powerful together, and that's what they try to do: divide and conquer, order out of chaos. All these Illuminati creeds and secret society creeds of just keeping us separate and hating each other, and fighting each other, and the whole idea of scarcity and the economic models is bullshit. The universe is infinite. You are infinite. The energy is infinite. Your mind and soul is infinite. You just got to tap into that and start unlocking it by realizing this fact. It's all born out of information. Wisdom, knowledge is the most important commodity in the universe. More so than gold, time, or any money or anything materially. Wisdom, knowledge is the most important commodity. If you've got a higher wisdom, a greater knowledge and understanding, then you can achieve great things without a doubt. Not even on this plane, but in the next life. After you die, you can carry your consciousness with you and no longer be manipulated in other realms after death, where you spat back with your memory wipes, like the Men in Black, just being spat back into the Matrix without a consciousness, and you have to start all over again. It's like playing a game without a fucking memory card. I used to do that Sega Mega Drive back as a kid. You had to complete the whole game without even saving. So you get to the last level and you die, you got to do another 2 hours worth of gaming in order to complete that game to get to that same level. This ain't smart, and this is what's been going on. But share an experience. If you had a similar experience, share it, get it out there. It might help activate other people. I've told the story to other people and I've showed this image, and it has worked in terms of getting a reaction from them, goosebumps all over them, and like this, wow, I feel really weird, because they know, everyone knows, it's just sleeping. It's time to wake up and stir that beast that is within. As the old saying goes, in the acorn a mighty oak does sleep. Likewise in us, mighty godlike force does sleep, and he's waiting to be awakened. Crouching tiger, hidden dragon. There's all these concepts. They're talking to you specifically. In us, we have all the power, and it's all in the mind. So yeah, hopefully you like that little story. I've got plenty more to share. Over the last 2.5 years, it's been pretty eventful. I've had contact with celestial beings, in particular experiences, but I'll upload and record my stories as and when. But yeah, just definitely encourage people who've gone through similar experiences, just get it out there. Just share it. It's time that we all come together and realise, and just share our experiences of the spirit in all things, in us, and break away from that materialistic mindset, which is very limited, which fears death, which fears not making it, not fear, but yeah, it's basically based on fear, because you're taught that everything's scarce, you're not immortal, and so you must live your life like life's too short. I mean, an immortal can never ever understand that concept, because it's false. If you understand that you're immortal, then you can start seeing past your short-termist ideologies and look beyond and start thinking about the next generation and their generations that they bring after them. So you start thinking about 4, 5, 6 generations ahead of you in terms of what seeds you plant, and this reality of what you do with your own efforts to make this world a better place, not only for yourself but for your kids and their kids and their kids, on and on and on. And so this is where we need to snap out of this economic dogma they've otherwise had us subscribe to. But yeah, that's enough of me rambling. Peace out. Hope you're all doing well. Stay safe. COVID-19, it's all in the mind. It can't affect you. All these cats getting rushed to hospital and literally attracting this into their life because they fear it. Fear is so powerful. It's the opposite of knowledge and understanding. If you have knowledge and understanding, you become bereft of fear. It's the immune system, and fear is knowledge. So know how powerful you are. Know how powerful you can heal yourself just with your subconscious mind. To look at the placebo effect, and yeah, use it in order to understand this universe a lot better and yourself, and start unlocking greater experiences which will give you proof that there is a spirit, there is a God, there is a higher force, and it permeates through you. It is not separate to you, it is within you. You are the ones that you've been waiting for. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. Alright, that being said, take care guys.